What up, everybody? It's Rob the Mellow Guy, and I'm back at you with another video. And I will admit, it has been a while. Haven't made a new video in a few weeks, but there are reasons. So, fill you in. I came down after I saw that concert I had talked about in my last video I went to in Santa Cruz. I actually have vacation for my work. I get vacation days, and I took a week off to go with my family down south, and sure enough, I came down for respiratory virus, came back home, went to urgent care, and was diagnosed with pneumonia. So definitely took me out of commission there for a while. I don't know what it is about springtime, but if I look at my historical record in spring, I've had flus, colds, respiratory viruses before in the spring. I just get hit. This one was pretty tough, but I got through it. Feeling better. Still got like a small cough, but for the most part, I'm doing good. Back to getting stuff done. You know, not completely wiped out like I was. And yeah, I wasn't able to make a music video or music video. I was able to do a video talking about music. Yeah, I haven't made a music video at all in my life. Well, no, that's not true. In high school, I actually, for a project, we had to do a quote song music video. But anyway, no, I haven't made a video, gosh, like I said, in a while. I just didn't feel up to it, and I didn't think you people wanted to hear me coughing and hacking, and decided it was best that I avoid, making a video until I feel up to, being able to speak without coughing and sounding like, I was just out of breath or something. So that's why I'm glad I'm able to do this, because I actually had a purchase come in, an order I had placed about an album that I was really excited about, and I would love to have talked about it at the time, but like I said, best that I let myself get well before. So that's what this video is kind of primarily dedicated to, is talking about this vinyl that just came into my collection a couple weeks ago. I had ordered through Hell's Headbangers. This is Mortiis. This album, Født til Herske. I probably butchered the pronunciation. Sorry if you are Norwegian. I do apologize, as I am not, and maybe I should take some classes, because I listen to quite a few bands from Norway, and Mortis's music tends to be in Norwegians. So Norwegian language is something I should pick up. Actually, I should say this, that I have the long sleeve of this album, the castle cover, which is actually on the insert. Here, I'll show you. Actually, I have a long sleeve shirt that I ordered through Hell's Headbangers a while back, but I've always loved this drawing, this artwork, as you can see, with the castle, and then like the swans and the little pond in front with the tree. There's just something about it. I've always liked that. And I have the long sleeve, and it has kind of a written description on the back in Norwegian. And what's fascinating, this is a crazy story. My friend Yuvraj and I were at Athens Burger, really good diner. If you're ever in Dublin, California, looking for a good diner, good burgers, just good food, good people too, the people that work there. We were at Athens Burger eating, and this lady came up, and she took Norwegian. She was into Scandinavian culture, and she could actually translate, which is kind of cool, because the album, if you translate this into English, is Born to Rule. And she started translating the back description for me. And I was like, wow, that's so awesome that you know this. And we were talking, and she even said that she's like, oh, I like, because she was really into like Scandinavian culture and Viking culture. And she even brought up how that, even though she didn't listen to metal, she was like, yeah, I do kind of think that's cool, some of those bands that are, the lyrical themes and stuff. So, but I'll never forget that she actually could translate it for me, which I was just, wow, that's awesome. That strange, chance meeting a person at an Athens Burger, a diner in Dublin, California, and she was able to translate. So, yeah, just want to bring that story up. But I've always enjoyed this album for a long time. I've always wanted to own a physical copy of it, whether it be CD or vinyl, but for some reason, I know they had repressed this a while back. They had certain versions floating around. Just never really trusted, especially at the cost, right? This is another thing. You'll go to Amazon or you'll go online to certain websites that are selling it, and you just question. So the label that actually repressed this, right, did the reissue, is Out of Season. They're a label that's done some dungeon synth, ambient music releases I've seen before. I'm following them now on Instagram. I really like what they're doing, and I'm so glad that they decided to do this album, repress it and do everything, because you got the original artwork, you got this, again, looks so great, the imaging, and I'll show you what they did with this release too, is you get a poster as well. So if you see that, it's cool. You got Mortiis, some goblin looking creatures. He's all dressed up in his chainmail and he has his axe. So that's awesome. You get that included. And then I'll show you all the vinyl itself. I think it was limited to like 300 copies or something on this, or there's more now. I can't know the exact number, but these, you see it's on gold vinyl. That's cool, right? I'm just happy I have a physical copy. If it was on black vinyl, I wouldn't mind, but the gold does look awesome. Got to admit, especially fits with the album cover, the writing. And actually, I believe I saw Out of Seasons has another variant. I'm pretty sure. And actually, there's a sticker here that tells me 500. It's limited to 500 copies. But I checked Hell's Headbangers because they were the ones distributing this. They, of course, picked up some copies probably from Out of Season to sell on Hell's Headbangers. And I don't know if I see any more vinyl copies, but I'm pretty sure Hell's Headbangers still has CDs available. So if you are interested in getting a physical copy of this Dungeon Synth classic, because this album truly, in my opinion, when you listen to it, the tone, the feel of the album, what Mortiis was focusing on with the themes in terms of the sonic kind of representation that he was going for, telling this story, creating this atmosphere, and there's no lyrics until the end of the album. You hear some vocal, like a person talking. Again, it's in a language that I don't understand, but it's cool nonetheless, because it gives the albums a little bit of a, I guess, kind of like a unique flair, and it reminds me of like the early Jim Kirkwood releases. And if we were to talk about what was the first Dungeon Synth release, the early years of Dungeon Synth, definitely Jim Kirkwood, the inspiration of Tolkien, right, to come up with kind of this ambient sounding music, medieval kind of, right, music. But Mortiis took it in to me, a new and even more like kind of profound direction. The way that the keyboards, the synths kind of blare and create that very profound kind of feel, right? And the layering of the different sounds, the drum parts. And I listen to a lot of artists now, especially in the world of Dungeon Synth. And this album, in my opinion, is the blueprint. I mean, you look at Old Tower's early releases, those are pretty much following along with the mentality sonically of what Mortiis was doing in the early 90s and mid 90s, before Mortiis morphed into more of a industrial, I don't know, the releases he did on Earache, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of. I always liked the early years of Mortiis, especially of course this album, and then I have the follow-up, Onden Som Jord Apro. I probably screwed that up. I got this actually through Hell's Headbangers as well. It's a good release as well. If you're into Dungeon Synth music, check it out. I actually have a poster on my wall of the album, because the poster came with this release too. That's what, again, I love that. When you get a poster, you get the whole packaging. So this album, if you are interested, I would highly recommend it because, as I've said, the world of dungeon synth music, a lot of the artists now have been heavily influenced by Mortiis, Old Tower, Minnesonor, Ukrainian dungeon synth band that I had checked out. I mean, you can go down the list of all these different dungeon synth acts that have come out in the years, since Mortiis released his early releases. Secret Stairways, there's that artist who I have a release in my collection as well. And I even had a video where I talked about dungeon synth music, some of the releases I have. I have quite a few Old Tower releases, and without question, Old Tower is kind of taking Mortiis and twisting it to make now a more unique sound at times, especially the more recent Old Tower releases I've talked about, more ambient, telling a story. The atmospheres in those current releases of Old Tower have stood out, kind of drifting away from the traditional old school dungeon synth sound, but still those elements are there, right? And I saw Old Tower actually performed with Mortiis, I believe, in Europe. And I was just jealous. I was like, man, anyone that had the chance to see Mortiis in Old Tower performing, that just had to be like a dream show, right? That's the ultimate dungeon synth concert. Mortiis and Old Tower. That's cool. If that came to the US and did a tour, oh, I would definitely try to go see it if it was close by. That would be something. So yeah, this album I would highly recommend. One of these albums, and that, if you were to talk about significant albums within a subgenre, this is one of them, right? This album, to me, set the pathway forward for a lot of up-and-coming dungeon synth artists who took the sound, the style, the feel with the music, and created their own worlds, right? And told their own stories through these sounds without having lyrics, right? That's what I love about dungeon synth music. It's very cinematic in that respect, and it has that tone and feel that creates such a world, and you can let your mind paint the pictures without having lyrics telling you. So these artists that I like that are dungeon synth artists, tremendously talented. So yeah, Mortiis, check it out. Født til, Herske. Like I said, if I mispronounce it, I do apologize. I will try to take some Norwegian classes so I don't look like a complete fool, maybe. That'd be nice. They got those programs now online you could take, right? Whatever, Babbles, and wasn't the Rosetta Stone? Is that still a thing? I don't know. But anyway, last video I just wanted to bring up, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If not, or if you're a returning person, hey, you know what I'm like. I go off on tangents, do certain things. But remember to like and subscribe, share, talk about a variety of different styles of music, from hard rock, metal, dungeon synth, death metal, thrash metal, to new wave, post-punk, to manga, anime. I go all over the map sometimes. Professional wrestling. Oh God, I don't even talk about that stuff right now. It's been a joke. It's been a nightmare in that regard, in that world. But I go off. And one thing though, in the last video I had brought up was Record Store Day. And I felt that a lot of the releases for this Record Store Day, I would have loved to have a chance to purchase them. I don't have a record store really close to me, and it's just ridiculous because, well, we're only limited so many copies, right? So if some guy sleeps overnight with a catheter and a giant pot of hot coffee and donuts, some fat guy in a tent, and he's waiting outside the record store, he can go in and snatch all the good releases. See, I just have never been into that, right? I really wish that the labels or whoever's in charge of, again, these releases, would they have more than just the copies that they, are putting out? Because again, I've seen like some record store releases that I wanted, And it's like now people are putting them online and they're charging ridiculous amounts of money for it. Like, I'm talking these guys. And that's what I never liked about Record Store Day. And it's sad, is it's supposed to be about going and supporting record stores, right? Going to your local record store. In my area, there's really no local record store, right? I mean, the closest real record store we have is Rasputin's. And preferably I like going to the Rasputin's in Campbell, California. The only problem is I gotta drive to Campbell, right? Which is down south. And also I might run into Dave frickin' Meltzer, the annoying wrestling journalist. So going to Campbell has its, has its flaws, unfortunately. But if I do have a chance to go down to San Jose, yeah, I always try to stop by the Rasputin's in Campbell because it's a lot better than the current one that I have that's closest to me. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to throw more mud at that place after the last 2 times Raj and I went there, and I've expressed my thoughts and opinions. It used to be in Concord, California, and then it moved to one location in Pleasant Hill, and well, I just outed it. So yeah, the one in Pleasant Hill. Sorry if you work there. Just personally, I really don't like it. Don't like the new location. But anyway, Record Store Day releases. It's just unfortunate that you have some albums that people would love to own, these releases. One of them, the Sisters of Mercy, the 2 EPs release that came out, where it took 2 EPs and combined them, Body and Soul and Walk Away. I'm a huge fan of the Sisters of Mercy, and I would have loved to have owned that. I also would love to own the My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, Cooler Than Jesus. So be it. My only hope is Wax Trax Records is talking about doing more pressings of that release with My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. So I'm hoping okay. But then there's some of the releases I just know these are Record Store Day exclusives. There's only going to be so many, and people, if you ever want to try to buy one, they'll try to rip you off, which I don't go for. Again, if you're some jerk off on freaking eBay, or you're going to sell it on some other website way over the price, it's just not worth it. So there you go. All right, and the last part of this video, I thought I'd give a shout out to one of my favorite mangas and animes. It's a very underrated series, in my opinion. A lot of people do enjoy this series in the world of manga and anime, and I've always felt that people that might not be into manga or anime could very well be interested in this, because the storytelling, the characters, just the overall feel of this series is very profound. It is so much better than the shit Hollywood's putting out right now. I'm telling you, gosh darn, there's not even a comparison. The current films that you see from Hollywood, it's embarrassing, just demoralizing how bad TV and movies have become, especially with these modern directors and their BS, pushing agendas and being goofy as hell, and actors and actresses are privileged, spoiled, and bitchy. Aye. So here it is. It's called Monster. And the author or the creator, Naoki Urasawa. Very talented artist. And I really do enjoy this series. It's a bit of a thriller. There's some crime, suspense. It deals with a brain surgeon, neurosurgeon, who well-respected, well-regarded, but he's also conflicted because the hospital he works for, they seem to have priorities when saving people because it gives them attention. And he's kind of conflicted because he wants to help everybody. He wants to treat everybody equally. Oh my goodness. A doctor in the healthcare system that wants to actually help people and not just get money, fame, and glory, right? He's actually trying to take care of his patients. And what happens is these 2 children come in, one of their twins, and the boy, because it's a boy and a girl, the boy has a serious shot to the head, doesn't look good. Brain surgeon, he decides to try to save the kid, even though he was asked to help some other person who's of high importance, but he says, no, I'm going to save this kid. Kind of causes some issues with him in the hospital. And then what happens is eventually we find out that kid is pretty evil. You start to find out, it's like it unravels, and it deals with a lot of very powerful messages, right? Talking about helping people, good, evil, right? Choices in life. There's some themes in this series, Monster, that I just really believe a lot of people can go, wow, that's so relatable to our modern culture. Just philosophically, right? We could talk about stuff. This is like one of those series that you really go, wow, it's not just, people looking and go, oh, it's cartoons and comics, BS. Shut up. There's so much more to it. That's what I like about it. My nephew, we watched the entire series. I had him, because he needed to watch a new manga series, instead of watching those YouTube people. I try to get him to not watch some of those video game YouTubers. They're annoying as hell. God, and they scream and sound like little girls. But I said, hey, why don't you watch this series with me? It's called Monster. He said, okay, because he likes One Piece. He likes anime, manga as well. I've gotten him into it. And we watched Monster together, and he was hooked. He would want to be like, no, let's watch another episode. Or, oh my goodness, I can't wait to watch another episode. Like the anticipation, right, to watch the series is just amazing. He was just taken over by how I guess you could say thrilling it was. It really does hook you. It's a good series. So I would highly recommend it, Monster, if you are interested to check something out. So yeah, I thought I would give a shout out there. All right, people. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions regarding anything I talked about, feel free to leave a comment, and I will try to respond in a timely manner. All right. I'd like to thank you all. Remember to like and subscribe. More videos coming. As I say, I'm feeling a little bit better, so hopefully it won't be delaying or taking another 3 weeks off. So, all right, everybody. Take it easy. Rod the Mail Guy signing out.